What's up, everyone? It is your girl, Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today let's talk about why I didn't buy the the new version of the Don't Be Jelly palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, y'all know me, I got a whole bunch of palettes, so I started pulling out palettes when I saw it. Like, do I really need this? Because when you look at it, to me, the first thing I saw, let me pull up my swatches as usual. Y'all know I'm gonna pull up the swatches from the palette itself, not necessarily the palette. But I did take, yeah, so here's the swatches I put up from their website. It looks really similar to another palette that they already have, which is why I was like, I don't really need it. Not to mention it looks like similar to other palettes in my collection. So I was like, do I really need this? No, I don't. Can it focus, please? Oh my God, can you focus? Focus today, please. Thank you. So if you see the colors here, it's like it looks really similar to stuff I already own from them, and then other palettes that I already own. So I was like, I don't need this palette for that reason alone. So I didn't buy it. Y'all ain't got no video on it, and I'm gonna show you the palettes as to why I didn't buy it. So it's kind of like a why you don't need video, if you will, but it's like some other topics I want to touch on with the brand as to why I didn't buy it as well. So I'm gonna touch on those when I get out an eye look, because y'all know just because I'm showing you these palettes, we're gonna crank out a good little cute little eye look and whatnot and discuss why I didn't. So I'm gonna start off with the ones that I felt like look super similar to the palette I just showed you, and then, you know, you'll see why I didn't feel the need to pick it up. Because it's like, if it looks like I'm about to show y'all 3 palettes, I feel like it looks similar. So I'm like, what is the purpose? We don't need to keep repeating things over and over again, especially if it's from the same brand. So this is the Hauntingly Glamorous palette with Sydney Nicole. It says it here at the top. When I first reviewed this palette, I didn't realize they said at the top. I expected it to be on the palette like everyone else, so it's there. That's what it looks like, and as you can see, it's definitely a similar color story to that. You have the dark purples, you have the green, you have the blue, you have the red, like, you have all those colors. The only thing is the shades in here that are green aren't mint. As you can see, this is more of a neon-y like green shade, and this is more like a turquoise blue type shade. So that's the only difference when it comes to the shades, but everything else to me looks pretty similar. So I was like, why do I need this palette? Then you remember Angie's palette, because everybody's saying how this palette was a good alternative for Angie's Club Nebula palette. If you have Club Nebula, I feel like you don't need this palette either. So I'm like, what am I finna buy this for? It looks really similar to Club Nebula. Again, you got those greens, you got the blues and purples, you got the reds, and you gave you some oranges and these amazing Kaleido shimmers that are shifting shades. So I was like, what do I need it for? Then you got Indigo Ink from Unearthly Cosmetics. It's like, again, this looks really similar to it as well. See, it has the bright green, it has the red, it has some reds. Now this one does not have the purples in it, but it does have some blues. So I feel like, again, this is a similar color story to that as well. It's like, I don't see why I need to go out and get that. Not to mention, I have the original Don't Be Jelly palette that's just a all shimmer palette. Now I have the original before they changed over manufacturers and got those square pants, like the original circle pants. Like, that's how long I've had Don't Be Jelly. So I was just like, I didn't see the need. Plus I got 2 little 6-pan palettes from Beauty Bay, and Beauty Bay is currently having like a 40% off on their own palettes, and this is their Disney collection. So I have the Cheshire Cat palette. You can buy these individually for like $3. And as you can see, it has a lot of those similar colors. So it has like the blue and the purple, if you will, and then it has some fun other shades. I really like this palette. I want to pair this with the Into the Night palette from Glamonatrix, which is actually what's on my eyes right now. If you're curious what's going on with that, this is the review for the palette I'm filming right now, but in the in-between time I wanted to get this intro done. Then I have the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. This was part 2 when they did a second collection of these 6-pan palettes, and this is what it looks like. Again, you got your green and your red. So I feel like if you put both these palettes together, and they usually be on sale for like $3 a piece, that's $6. Well, if you put both these together, I feel like you could get a similar effect, and I was just like, I don't need to be buying this palette for that. Now we'll get into the other reasons once I do the eye look, but I just want to start off with those. So I'm thinking I want to go with the Unearthly Cosmetics Indigo Ink palette when it comes to using it, but let's double look at the picture I showed you again to make sure I can get the same colors, because I always try to strive for the same colors out of a look before I do the look, because, you know, that's the purpose, showing you that you can get the same color effect. Okay, so I might not be able to use this one because it doesn't have the purples or the black, because there's a black in here, then a blackish like shimmery shade. So we might have to go with, matter of fact, we'll go with the Unearthly palette, and then I'll bring in the Don't Be Jelly extra palette for shimmers to use, since it's called Don't Be Jelly, and you know this whole video is about the Don't Be Jelly palette. So we're going to use this Don't Be Jelly palette. I'll try to find a shimmer here that's similar to this one, which I feel like it shouldn't be that hard. And then we're going to use Stacey Nicole's Hauntingly Glamorous palette to recreate a look, because I feel like I can definitely get a look out of here. The same purple is in here, it has the red in here. It doesn't have a lighter blue, it does have a deeper blue though, so I'm thinking I'll do a purple and red look, and maybe throw in like this kind of shade right here, and then I'll just pull one of the dual chromes out of the, you know, Don't Be Jelly palette. So this is what we're gonna use, and then we'll have a discussion about why I didn't buy the palette and just my feelings on the brand now, as opposed to when I first started buying from, with the changes that I've seen happening when it comes to products. Okay, because that's what the real tea is on when I buy the palette. Okay, be right back, girl. Okay, y'all, so this is what I'm working with. I took shades Don't Be Jelly 4 and Don't Be Jelly 6 from the Don't Be Jelly palette. So I took my two favorite shades, these two right here. Those are the shades I gravitate toward the most in this palette. With the shimmers on the lid, I wasn't really trying to match the shimmers in that palette, because I already have a whole palette called Don't Be Jelly. So I was like, we're gonna go with the Don't Be Jelly shades in my palette, okay? Okay, so with the Sydney Nicole palette, I took this red, this shimmer. This is the shade that's through my creases, my transition shade, and I took this blue. I know it doesn't match the blue that was in their palette, but that was the blue I had, so I worked with the blue I had, girl. Because the other shades, as you can see right here, their blue is much lighter than mine. So let's get down to talking about why I didn't buy the palette and what's going on with this brand in general. So I'm gonna start off with the mint shade. Okay, so first off, if y'all remember the issue I had with the shades going hard pan in my Weirdos palette, I was kind of like, huh. So I heard she like sent replacement shades to people that want them. Some of you all told me that in the comment section. Shout out to you and thank you. I didn't worry about it because it's really just one shade. So when I use the palette, I just grab the mixing medium and drop a lot of it on there, and then mix around my brush and go through with that. I wasn't gonna go through the hassle, all of that, and waiting for the shade to come back. But that kind of turned me off his buying from the brand, because I'm like, how many more of these am I gonna get this hard pan? So I did buy their holiday palette, because you know it's my color aesthetic, my color story, and all that stuff. So fast forward, there was another palette I found on Macari. Now the palette hadn't been released by the brand or anything, so I was like, I figured it was an upcoming release, and you know how people sell at PR Macari and Poshmark and places like that, because I've gotten stuff before, it was supposed to come out before, because somebody sold the PR that the brand sent to them. So I'm thinking, oh okay, this palette's about to come out soon. Karen, I'm gonna hear Karen, Beauty in the Frizz, Angie, all of them talking about it, so I'll just go ahead and pick it up now, and then when it comes out, I'll have it to do my review just like everybody else was, since somebody sent it PR. So apparently after I bought it, then I read somebody else's comment, because multiple girls are selling their PR on Macari of this palette, and she just talked about the palette in her new makeup releases that came out yesterday, Saturday. So it's the Complex palette, that's the name of the palette. But I bought it thinking, you know, like, oh okay. So then after I purchased it from this one girl, this other girl told the truth about what was going on with the palette. She was like, all the shades showed up completely hard pan, so the brand told her that they were going to push back the release to a different date. So she was just being upfront and honest when she sold hers, whereas the girl I bought mine from didn't say that. So I ended up with a palette that was full of hard pan shades. So I was like, okay. And apparently 2 palettes were supposed to come out in this release or something, but only one showed up. I'm taking the red shade now, and so I was just like, so I wasn't necessarily crazy about that either. No, let's not take the red shade, let's take the navy blue first. Sorry, false alarm. So then I kind of wasn't really feeling that either. So I was just like, So I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on over there. I just watched Danessa Makeup Corner's video on the palette, and she was talking about how she had only used the shimmer shade one time, and she literally used it in that video the one time. It was like the mint colored shade, the one that I'm gonna take this shade for to put in my inner corner. And she was talking about how it was already getting hard pan on it. So that's why I honestly have been taking a break from the brand. I'm like, it's too much hard panning going on. And I got a whole hard panned palette, if you will, from Macari. And I saw like 3 or 4 of them on it. Some people were charging outrageous prices. And I only saw like 2 girls being honest about the fact that the palettes were all hard painted, that the brand had pushed back the release date of the palettes. Other girls were just selling it, and it's like, if you got a hard pan palette, oh well. So I was just like, interesting. So I thought that was like really shady and messed up that they were doing that. Not that the brand, you know, sent them the stuff, because the brand was, you know, honest with them, like, you know, it's hard pan, or if you're having these issues, then, you know, we're gonna push it back and we're gonna try again. But I felt comfortable talking about it now because Angie literally talked about it in the video I was watching while I was doing this eye look off camera. So I was like, okay, it's okay to talk about the product now. I've had it for like at least a month, I want to say. So it's not like I'm making it up. Like, I can show you on my phone where I bought it on Macari and how the girl's description doesn't say anything about the palette being hard pan. We're gonna take the red shade now. What did the brush? Yeah, I'm gonna take the red shade now, put it in the crease. But I was just like, child, I know I'm not doing this to air out the brand or shade the brand or anything like that. It's just I'm giving you my explanation as to why I haven't bought anything recently from them, because of the hard pan issue that they have going on. And I respect and appreciate Annette's Makeup Corner for being honest about the fact that hers was hard pan. Because I feel like when it first happened, I was one of the few people who actually talked about it. And then when customers started having it happen and other people were talking about it, that's when other creators came out and said it, when they're like, you know, followers were asking them how their palette was like that. I remember in Betty Jean's collection, her eyeshadow palette declutter video in the same year that the Weirdos palette came out last year, and how she's talking about hers was fine until like she had done that video and then it hit hard pan, so she ended up decluttering the palette. So it's like, with all the hard panning going on and the price point of the brand, I'm just kind of like, you know, I don't want to spend my money and play Russian roulette on wondering if, you know, it's gonna be hard pan or not. That's honestly what it came down to. Plus, I feel like a lot of the color stories are looking somewhat similar. Like, if I can get the same eye look with that palette, and I already have these palettes and I have similar color stories, with the way the economy is running, it's like I gotta play my money smart, y'all, you know? So it's like, we gotta play our money smart. I mean, gas is going down here in Chicago. It went from like $4.50 to like $3.87, but it's like, you know, the eggs haven't gone down. I mean, the cost of food is slowly going down, thank goodness, but I'm like, you know, it's still not back to where it used to be, where we were more comfortable with being able to spend money like that. So it's like, with that being said, me having to make these type of decisions, I'm gonna make the type of decisions where if I have something similar and, you know, it's from the same brand and we're literally using both of her palettes to create these looks, I'm like, and these are the older formulas that worked better for me. I don't feel the need. This is Don't Be Jelly Shade 6. I don't feel the need to go out and get the other palette. So it's not necessarily that I'm, you know, boycotting the brand or anything like that. It's just more of because of the instances and the situations I'm having happen, I'm kind of just like, I don't want to, you know, I kind of don't want to know right now. Like, I'm gonna give them time to like fix whatever the situation is going on over there, but I'm not trying to just buy when I feel like those are the issues that I'm seeing and have personally experienced. I wish I brought the palette with me, but I didn't know that Angie talked about this in her video. I usually watch it at home after I get out the shower and I'm getting ready for bed to like kind of wind down. I'll watch her new makeup releases and then I'll go to bed after it goes off. But I was like, since I ended up watching it here, now I can talk about that palette. Because like I said, I've literally had it for like a month, but I didn't talk about it. I've done eye looks with it on Instagram and everything. I just didn't say that's what it was. So sometimes for my description box, when I tell y'all about a look and I don't tag the brand or anything, it's because it's something I found on Macari that hasn't necessarily come out yet, or it's a brand that I used to support that I don't support anymore. So in that instance, when I posted that look, it was like, you know, I can't talk about this thing because, you know, I wasn't even supposed to have it. She sent it to someone else, they sold it to me, and then, you know, that's how I got it. So I was like, I don't want to, you know, disturb what the brand got going on and all that or whatever, but at the same time, you know, like, I'm still gonna try out the palette and see how it's working. So that's what I did. It had really nice, gorgeous colors in it. It's just I had to use a mix and medium, like I said, because every single shade was hard pan. But I appreciate the owner for not like trying to sell that to customers, knowing that once that issue arose the first time. So I definitely appreciate Amanda for not trying to like play her customers like that, because at the end of the day, you know, like, that would give her brand a bad reputation. And since she couldn't control the first one to happen because she didn't know what was going to happen, she did what she could to fix it. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate her reformulating it and coming out with it in the new form that she has now in order for her to be putting out that palette now. But those are the reasons that I didn't personally buy the palette. And I just want to get on here and tell y'all, because I know y'all know I buy just about everything the brand comes out with. But those are my reasons as to why I didn't. I'm just like sitting here on the sidelines watching and waiting like, it's going to be okay this time? Or no? So that's why I didn't buy it. But I'm feeling the eye look I got now from palettes I already have from her. So I hope you enjoyed this eye look and this conversation. And you can comment down below and tell me what you think about it. Like I said, at the end of the video, I'm gonna put a screenshot of the palette I'm talking about in like the description or whatever from the girl, because you know, nowhere in it does it say it's hard pan. And I'll put the description of the other person I was talking about so you can see what I'm talking about, because I'm a person that comes with receipts. When I say something, I'm gonna have some proof to go behind it, okay? But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are dimes. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.